says the live video is starting, so waiting for it to stop its eternal circle. Okay, now we are live, and it's good to be here this evening. And good day to all of you across the world. And we have been talking quite a bit on the entry into um, the new age, new dispensation, and Patty was supposed to put that gate up, but I guess she didn't. So, I'll wait just a couple of minutes and give everybody a chance to come on. Okay, doesn't look like anybody's come on yet, but we will. I'll start out by saying I am Don Parnell, and you can find our website at spiritualenergy.net. And I always post it on the notice. And then you can also find our discussions on not only our website, but on YouTube under pictorial. And there's an URL there for that. And then we have, of course, on Facebook, it's here every week, live. And you can also go to my wall, which is pictorial, and on that Parnell, and on that wall you can go to my videos, and they will all be there also. So you've got 3 or 4 places you can go if you're not going to be on live, or if you want to listen to it a few more times and try and get everything out of it that you can, you're certainly welcome to. We have been talking about the continuation into the entry of the New World, and we'll continue the subject of our entry into Aquarius, leaving the ages, and the Son of Man had to be revealed to complete the church. And I wanted to talk just a little bit about that this evening. The Son of Man himself has to be revealed. You know the scripture, St. Luke 17:30. It says that in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, as it was in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, so shall it be when the Son of Man is revealed. So that was a promise from Jesus Christ himself, that there would come a time that the Son of Man would be opened up and revealed. Now, honestly, I believe that attribute has been here all along, because, well, we'll read it here in just a little while. It says that it was the Son of Man that was in the midst of the church. And John saw that in 97, 98 AD. So the Son of Man had to be revealed to complete the church and the Piscean age. And when the Son of Man was revealed, we know how it was revealed. We'll get into a little bit of that. But the Piscean age passed away, and the Aquarian age came in. The natural sun moved to the Aquarian age around January of 97. And of course, the spiritual side of that, at the opening of the seals, the bride moved from the Cancer age over to the Aquarian age. And so William Branham, or the prophet himself, moved from the age of Aries over into Leo the Lion. So Leo the Lion began to speak to those of us who early entered the Aquarian age. So those that caught on to the message and understand it, they entered much earlier than the natural sun did, 30 some years. So we see this, and I want to talk about how we left the Piscean age. It was an age of water. And of course, Brother Branham said that the age started out in the water. And I think what he meant when you listen to everything he said was you go back to the Pentecostal age, the day of Pentecost. And at that day of Pentecost, the sun was rotating into Pisces right at that time. So the age started in the water. Piscean is a water age. And then it moves on and it moves over into Aquarius, which is an air sign. So the church was promised a meeting in the air. And everybody's looking to go flying up into the heavens somewhere and have a big meeting in the air, when honestly, if you just use some common sense, it's been 2,000 some years that the Pisces was in the water, and then we moved into the air at the opening of those seals, and then the natural sun in 97. So we've entered the meeting or the gathering of people in the air. This is the air sign. And so we see this going on all around us. And the combustion of the Son of Man exploded. And that happened at the end of the Piscean age. You take the Son of Man, both times the Son of Man appeared, he was born in Aries. Jesus Christ was born on April the 6th, Aries. And the Son of Man, when he revealed himself over here in this day, he was born on April the 6th in Aries. One about 3 BC and the other 1909 AD. And those two manifestations of the Son of Man brought in the whole 7-year Son of Man manifestation. And so we see this, and the combustion, the Son of Man, Aries, is fire. So fire, through the prophet, through Jesus Christ, through the Messiah, through the fullness, through all these things, fire struck the water. And when fire strikes the water, which was the Piscean age, then what happens? Water goes into a vapor. And where does it go? Into the air. And so what we were looking for as a rapture is just the people being preached to through the word and given the word for their day and their age. And that fire coming out of the mouth of Moses and Elijah struck the church, struck the people, struck the Piscean age, and it converted it or transformed it into the Aquarian age and lifted us into the air. We're in the air sign. We'll be here for 2,000 some odd years. And everyone will probably the whole time be looking for the meeting in the air, as far as most of the people. But we know we are in the meeting in the air. Now, I've written a couple of things down that I want to go over. I was reading, I do my what you would call meditation and reading and prayer and things like that. I do it a lot of times, and I'll sit and just take one of the scriptures from a prophet, maybe Ezekiel, maybe Daniel, whoever it might be, and I will read a chapter or two. And I was in the book of Psalms, and it was Psalms 91. If you haven't read it, of course, that's where Satan quoted Psalms 91 more than anybody that I know of. He talked to Jesus all 3 times that he said something to Jesus in the journey, in the wilderness. He was referring back to Psalms 91 every time. So I thought, well, with us being in the fullness, maybe we ought to take a look at that. So I was sitting and reading it, and the Spirit really moved inside me, and I wrote this down as I was reading Psalms 91. And it said, we are delivered from the processes of the beast and its frequencies. The noisome pestilence of those processes are gone, and we are covered in the spirit of life now. Where David said, the noisome pestilence and things could not come near them, and they were delivered into the high rock, into the highest frequencies. And I was just writing down exactly the way I would feel as a David in this day. And I put in there, in love, we find safety in the highest levels of spiritual energy. And that's where we find our safety. We are not afraid of the terrorists by night. David said we're not afraid of the terror by night. Well, now it's the terrorists by night, nor of the evil that speaks in the day. And there's a lot of evil speaking politically and everything else all day long. All you have to do is tune into it a little bit and not be surprised. We are not afraid of the pestilence caused by economic collapses in darkness. David said we're not afraid of the pestilence that shows up in darkness. And I said, nor the destruction leading the world politics. We're not afraid of what it's doing to the world. We see it. We may comment on it, but we're not afraid of it. We understand who we are. Such chaos causes 1,000 to fall at our side. David, when he wrote, he said 1,000 will fall at your side and 10,000 at your right. And so I wrote in, such chaos causes 1,000 to fall at our side and tens of thousands at our right hand, but it doesn't come near nor shake us. We just know what is going on, and we act accordingly. Only the eye of the Spirit beholds the reward of the righteous and the wicked. David said, the eyes of the Lord. Well, we've come a touch further in that. We understand that there's one eye and there's one Spirit, and only the eye of the Spirit holds and beholds the rewards of the righteous and the wicked. We see them both. And we have made the Spirit our refuge. In its most high frequencies and vibrations is our habitation. David said, I'll go and I will be in the habitation in the high rocks and so forth, in the habitation of the Lord. No evil will befall us, neither is there a plague that comes near our dwelling. So we don't worry about plagues. We don't worry about any of the things that tear us by night or anything else. And David said that the angels, you don't have to fear, because he said, you'll not dash your foot against a stone, because the angels will take care of you and bear you up. And I wrote, the angelic season is the power of us. It's what raises us higher. We moved into the resurrection, which is the angelic season, and we grow stronger in all of our ways. Our angelic nature bears us up to the highest of the Spirit, lest we fall headlong into the lower levels and the lower frequencies. And we would do that if we weren't in those higher frequencies and paying attention to what it's doing for us. We tread upon the beast nature, lower frequencies, and its processes. The carnality of the dragon and its powers are beneath our feet. Holistic love is our portion. Therefore, we are delivered. That's what delivers us. And did you know that there are higher frequencies than love? I don't know if you know it or not, but if you pay attention to the frequency levels, when you enter love, then after love comes joy, and then after joy comes peace. So you can rise love lest you enter into the highest frequencies, but it's not necessarily the highest frequency itself. And the Spirit transforms us, and we answer to its transforming love. The Spirit calls us, and we answer it. It is with us in our troubles. If we have troubles, it's right here. It's in us. It will deliver and honor us. We are satisfied with long life as the Spirit in us leads our footprints through the sands of time. So I was writing these things down and just thinking and praying and my meditation. And I was thinking about it, and I thought, there are three things that the Son of Man actually has put in us, or that our attribute of Son of Man has brought out of us, is a better way to put it. Our actions of the Son of Man, those attributes that are in us, begin to come out. And I said, I have personally observed there are three things in a person that things a person needs in his or her personal life. The three are certainly not the first three things you'd think of. You'd think about, there's a lot of things you'd think of. Three things I need. But I was thinking on these three things, paying attention to Psalms 91 and 92, and paying attention to the message we have, and just meditating and thinking. And the three things I found were understanding, will, and power. And I'm talking about the Son of Man. And the three things, understanding, will, and power. Those are the three things. Now, forget about political nations and think about the meaning and the purpose in life. I'm not talking about three things that a nation needs and all these kind of things, but I'm talking about us personally as individuals and us as a group, as humanity, what we need. The three things, understanding, will, and power, are a true, listen to it, a true communistic nature. Everyone says, oh, he's a communist. You just don't know what a communist is. Otherwise, you'd be real happy that I'm a communist. I'm not talking about a communist political thing. Communist, a true communist character, and it's a true character of fascism. Now you think of Antifa, oh no, and Mussolini and fascism and Hitler and well, if you understand the true character of fascism and the true character of communism, and then the third thing, communism, fascism, and the third thing is a benevolent king or a dictator. You need in you a benevolent king or a dictator that will impart this character peacefully and watch it grow rapidly throughout your person. So when I apply the communistic character within me, then that is communing with one another. That is taking care of one another. That is listening to one another. That is learning from one another. The true communistic nature is something we all need in our lives if we want to gain and understand the experiences and things that we have. And then the fascism, all fascism really is, we'll get into that, but fascism is the way that you feel about your community, about after you have done everything that you can do with this inward man, you bring out that attribute of fascism to show everybody else how much you love them. It's a nationalistic thing if you're looking at political things. Nationalists first. A lot of people call us nationalists because we put our nation first. I'm not even talking about that political thing. I'm talking about what should be in you and how you should put the things, the people that you're surrounded by, the things that you are surrounded by, all of those things that you can have any influence at all over, you should have a fascist character to bring those things out. And the way you do that is you have a benevolent or a loving dictator inside, a king who wants things to come out. Now I'm talking about three attributes of the Son of Man, because the Son of Man is the Word. And the Son of Man is the attributes that have been laying in you that are coming to life now. Now we see this now. The dictator imparts this character peacefully, a benevolent king, which a king is a dictator. So yes, we are kings. A lot of people say, well, I don't know. Yes, we are kings. First chapter of the book of Revelations, he said that he has made us, through his blood, has made us kings and priests. Now, I have to ask you this question. If you're a king, Sister Nora, Brother Alan, Larry, different ones, if you're king, what are you a king of? You're a king of your nation. This is a nation. This body is my nation. And I am the king, the dictator. I am the person who is going to commune. I am the person who is going to act benevolently. I'm the person who's going to let it shine throughout my body. I am that person. We're not talking about attributes necessarily. We're talking about the way a person would reveal themselves, or the way the Son of Man would reveal himself. So we see this now. Yes, we're kings, the leaders and rulers of our individual bodies, which is a nation. Each of us is a nation. We are gods. Jesus was very clear about that. David was very clear about that. We are gods, and we do have these attributes that we tap into and bring forth from our fountain. I'm not talking about some guy out here on a political throne trying to be a communist, a fascist, or an imperialist, or a whatever, democracy, or I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about what should be coming out of you. Now, there were some tyrannical leaders across time and history that were branded with communism, fascism, dictators, imperialists, that truthfully were just narcissistically satanic leaders. That's all they were. They were wrapped up in processes, wrapped up in an agenda, wrapped up in their own organization and in their own nations, to the point that they were trying to force it on everybody else. And they became leaders seeking power without character. And you know what we were told about that? A person who has power without character is satanic. Now, so these leaders were seeking power without character, using processes of religion, politics, military, economics to gain their control. And they're doing it. We're watching it all over the world right now. And it's falling apart on them. Some are still out there. None of them are even close to what they are identified to be. They certainly aren't communist, because a communistic person will commune with one another and love one another. They certainly aren't fascists, because you would love the ones around you and you would do everything benevolently to put those things out and help people and help yourself. So they're not those things, but that's what we political identity, we put that on them. And it's not true. Not one of them is even close. People are afraid to even use those words because of the hatred and the chaos caused by these false identities. We put something on them and they're not even close to what that is, and then everybody hates that term or that word or that way. And it's not true. So we have this going on all around us. Communism in action is exactly what it means. Communing with one another, helping the deprived and the depressed, ensuring that our family communities are working together in the highest frequencies of joy and peace and love. Jesus made this statement: you have the poor with you always. So there's no excuse for not being able to perform those communion things that you should be performing and helping people along the way. And then the fascism is a character of benevolence. It's a character that has a mixture of capitalism and nationalistic roots. Capitalism just meaning competition. We all have that mixture in us. Competition. And true fascism flourishes in our personal lives when we take responsibility. The more responsibility you take in your life, the more the character and the attribute of fascism is going to show up in your life. Now, we point at Antifa and we point at all these people and say, well, they're horrible, they're fascists, they're this. That's not fascist at all. All that is a bunch of narcissistic men trying to gain control or trying to destroy what they don't like. True fascism, it is caring, it is bringing joy and peace in an understanding, in an empathetic way to our community and to our home. Jesus said it best again. He said, I came to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. When they were all trying to get him to deal with Gentiles and deal with this and deal with that, he said, I'm here first for Israel. He was showing a fascist type of character and letting Israel know that, hey, I am here for you. Listen to me. I love you. And he was showing love and care in a nationalistic fascism way towards Israel. And so then you see, lastly, is the will or the desire, the drive, and the peace that we bring to the table, no matter where in this world we're at. What am I talking about? Dictatorship. I dictate what I am going to act like, what I am going to be, how I am going to treat other people. I am my own king. I am my own nation, and I dictate what I'm going to do. That is the will. We've had understanding. We've had the will. And lastly, this will, the desire to drive and the peace we bring to the table, no matter where we're at in the world, step into our personal self with will. Step inside and have the will to say, I am going to dictate properly. I'm going to dictate benevolently. I'm going to treat people the way I would want to be treated. I'm going to do all of these things. And we begin to do that. And then we step into the room. We step into a building. We step into a group of people. We step into the will and let it act in its highest frequencies of Christ. And that's what we should be doing. That's the Son of Man revealed every single day. The Son of Man revealing himself, showing who he is in a time when it's horrible out here, when it looks like the terrible day is upon us. The great day is here also. The Son of Man has revealed himself, and he's bringing himself forth. You do this, you esteem others. I know this is really hard to do, but you esteem others higher than yourselves. And watch it light up a room when you step into it. Watch it light up a person when you're drinking coffee with them or eating a breakfast. And you esteem them higher than yourself. And you tell them what good things they are. And you esteem them and you raise them up. And if you do this, you know what will happen? Watch it right up the room. And if you do this, you will go from there feeling higher yourself. You'll feel like I guess they call it the dopamine in your body begins to flow, and you get this really good feeling. I just call it the Holy Spirit. Takes your body and says, hey, feel good for a few minutes. You just done something good. So we see this now. Whatever else we deem as good, and whatever else we try to attain, listen to me. It is not the supreme good. There is a supreme good. Understanding, will, and power. There is a supreme good. And yes, there is a supreme God, a supreme good, a supreme being. So I said, Don Parnell doesn't believe there's a supreme being. He thinks it's just what's in him. Absolutely not the truth. I know that there is a great intelligence way beyond me that is orchestrating all these things, and he's doing it in a way. I put it out the other day. I said, he is so sovereign, he's bringing about his will through our free will. We got free will to do anything we want, and the Spirit is still so sovereign that he's bringing out the will of himself. So we see this going on. Now, it's what I would term the supreme good. Someone said, oh, you think there's something. The supreme good is the highest frequency and vibration available to humanity. Now, you tell me what the highest frequency and vibration is available to humanity. Okay? So, Jesus said it. He said, they asked him, said, good master? And he said, there's none good but God. Oh, so we're starting to understand who we are. Because you're good. We are good, and we are God. That's who we are. We're walking around in human flesh. This is the Son of Man being revealed. Not only Son of Man, Son of God, Son of David, and we'll read that in just a few minutes, and we'll get into it. But we are exactly who we're supposed to be, and we're not some floating spirit out here somewhere. It is human flesh in us, and the twain have become one flesh. I want to read to you in St. John, talking about the Son of Man in the midst of us. John 12:12. On the next day, much people that were come to the feast when they heard that Jesus was coming to Jerusalem, they took branches of palm leaves and went forth to meet him and cried, Hosanna, blessed is the King of Israel that cometh in the name of the Lord. And Jesus, when he had found a young ass, a young colt, sat thereon, as it is written, Fear not, daughter of Zion, behold, the king cometh, sitting on an ass's colt. These things understood not the disciples. Here they were, his very ones who he was teaching who he was. And it was just 1 week from his crucifixion that he rode into Jerusalem. A week later, they put him on a cross. They were screaming, Hosanna to the highest. That tells you just how human nature can be. 1 minute you're God, and the next minute you're the devil. And so they were screaming, Hosanna to the highest. And Jesus rides in, and these things understood not his disciples at first, but then Jesus was glorified. He went through his death, his burial, and his resurrection, and they started to understand all of these scriptures. So it says that then they remembered that these things were written of him, and that they had done these things unto him. The people, therefore, that was with him when he called Lazarus out of the grave, this is, remember the 11th chapter, he brought Lazarus out of the grave after 4 days. He called Lazarus out of the grave. The people that were with him raised him, and he raised Lazarus from the dead. These people began to bear record. They were all in the feast together, and they began to go around and say, Jesus, the one's here that raised Lazarus from the dead. So for this cause, people also met him, for that they heard that he had done this miracle. The Pharisees therefore said among themselves, Perceive how ye prevail nothing. Behold, the world's gone after. And they were doing their best to turn the people against Jesus. And the Son of Man was revealing himself. It was his 3.5 years, the first half of his ministry. He was revealing himself, and they couldn't do anything about it. Now, if you go back to the first part of John 12, you will see something that happened. They had a supper after the resurrection of Lazarus. Just like after the resurrection, in the opening of those seals, the prophet said, what a resurrection out of dead denominationalism. Then what did we do? We went to a supper. Just like when they resurrected Lazarus from the dead, they went to a supper. Martha served, and it said that the Pharisees sought how they might kill Lazarus. And do you know what the Pharisees are doing to you out here right now? They're seeking how they might kill that voice that you're looking at right now, that man that you're looking at right now. They're seeking how they might kill his influence, kill the resurrection. They don't want the message of the resurrection going anywhere, because it will begin to break up their denomination. It'll begin to break up their organization. It'll begin to break up their narcissistic power and their control, and they don't want anything like that happening. So just like when Lazarus, the resurrection, was on the scene, they sought how to kill him. And today we have bore record of the resurrection, and they're seeking how they might kill it. Oh no, there's no resurrection yet. We're waiting on the resurrection. Well, that's not true. The resurrection is here. It was declared and told that it was here. So the Pharisees sought how they might kill Lazarus, because so many bore record of the resurrection, and the world had gone after him. Verse 10 shows you the blindness of denomination. They were so blind, the actual miracle of the resurrection was standing right there in front of them, and they wanted to seek out a way to kill it, to do away with its influence. And there they were. Now, they sought how they might kill the resurrection in this message. And they still see it. Let's go back to, and there was a certain Greeks in the 20th verse among them that came up to worship at the feast. The same came therefore to Philip, which was of Bethsaida of Galilee, and desired him, saying, Sir, we would see Jesus. Philip went to Andrew, and Andrew went to, and Philip went to tell Jesus. And Jesus answered them, saying, The hour is come that the Son of Man should be glorified. It's just 1 week, and he was going to be beat to death, put on a cross, put in a grave, and resurrect. So he said, the hour has come that the Son of Man should be glorified. Now listen to what he says. If you want to know who the Son of Man is, and they ask that question. Verily, verily, I say unto you, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone. But if it die, it bringeth forth much fruit. He that loveth his life shall lose it, and he that hateth his life in this world shall keep it unto life eternal. If any man serve me, let him follow me. And where I am, there shall also my servant be. If any man serve me, him will my Father honor. So we have the Father, the Son, and then Christ in the form of a servant, all at the same time being one in the resurrection. Now we see how the Son of Man is glorified. His glorification was his death, burial, and resurrection. That was his glorification, and that glorified him. And after his glorification, they began to understand what he was saying about the corn of wheat, about all of these things. So we see this going on. Now, 12 and 27, Jesus says, now is my soul troubled. And what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour. He said, but for this cause came I unto this hour. Father, glorify thy name. There came a voice from heaven, saying, I have both glorified it, I will glorify it again. The people therefore that stood by and heard it said that it thundered. Others said an angel spake to him. They heard something, but they didn't know what was said. But Jesus knew the voice. We all know where heaven is. It said they heard a voice from heaven. Where's heaven? It's in us. So what they heard was Jesus make a statement, a voice from heaven that said that I have both glorified you and I will glorify you again. We all know where heaven is. That is within man. Fannie Wilson one day, she's a very good close friend of William Branham. She told me that she was there in 1933 on the river, June the 11th, I think, or somewhere around in there. And she said that when that pillar of fire came down over the prophet on the Ohio River, she said, I had my hands over my eyes, and she said, the voice began to speak. And she said, I thought it was William Branham speaking, standing there on the river. So she said, I opened my eyes and looked, and she said, Brother Branham was standing there with his head bowed, eyes closed, arms folded, and she said the voice was speaking out of the pillar of fire, and it was William Branham's voice. And it said, as John the Baptist forerun the first coming of Christ, your message will forerun the coming word. She heard this. It was the voice of William Branham, and I guarantee you, when they heard this voice, it was the voice of Jesus, because that was Jesus in theophany form, Melchizedek, hanging there in him and speaking out, and that was William Branham's theophany hanging over him. She said about 5 foot above his head, a great star was hanging there, and his voice was coming out of it. So that's the things, the Son of Man, when he begins to reveal himself, the Son of Man can move in the word however he wants. Now Jesus answered and said, this voice came not because of me, but for your sakes. Now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. Now you look that up and you begin to study, and it says, the prince of this world shall be recast. It'll be cast in a different form. Now you say, oh, that's talking about the devil, is it? I think Isaiah 9 and 6 said he was the Prince of Peace. He was the prince. His government was upon his shoulders. He was the Almighty God. There stood the Prince of Peace. And Jesus was telling them, now is the judgment of this world. It's going to change. And the prince of this world, this Son of Man that you're looking at right now, is going to be recast. And listen to what he says. And I, if I be lifted up to the earth, will draw all men unto me. This said he, signifying the death that he should die. He died, he was recast, and the people answered him and said, we have heard out of the law that Christ abides forever. You're saying that the Christ is going to die and he's going to be changed and recast into something else. And Jesus makes the statement, the people answered him, said, we've heard of this, that Christ abide forever. And now how do you say the Son of Man must be lifted up? The Son of Man must be recast. The Son of Man must die. And they asked this question, who is this Son of Man? Well, I'd ask you the same question. We're all hollering, Son of Man, Son of Man. Who is this Son of Man in this day? Now let's talk about who the Son of Man is. There are three sonships that manifest a dispensation in earth. It's a cycle that continually rotates until the known scriptures are fulfilled and the cycle changes. Son of God, Son of Man, Son of David. And it keeps going. Everything changes at the end of the cycle. Just like Brother Branham said, in the first seal, at the end of the church age cycle, everything changes. It's not the same anymore. Well, the cycles that we're looking at, if you want to look at it, the Old Testament was the Son of God, manifestation in a cycle. The New Testament, or Jesus Christ himself, is the Son of Man, manifested in a cycle. So you have Son of God in the Old Testament, then the Son of Man comes on the scene, Jesus, between the Old and the New Testament, and then the day of Pentecost was the Son of David in manifestation. The Son of David took his kingship in the earth, and you've seen a little space of time there, about 20 years, where the Son of Man was revealing himself in Pentecost, in those apostles, in those prophets, before the church ages began from 33 AD to 56 AD, about somewhere around 20 years. You've seen that manifestation of the Son of David. The book of Acts, the Son of David moving. The book of Acts, Luke, all of those men were writing and looking and talking and moving, and Paul and all of them. And then the seven church ages, that cycle, Son of God, Son of Man, Son of God, Old Testament, Son of Man, Jesus, and then Son of David, Pentecost, for about 20 years. We've seen the Son of David setting up his kingdom in earth. Now we move into the seven church ages, and we go to where? Unveiling of God. We heard the prophet say the church ages was a Son of God manifestation. So we got the seven church ages being a Son of God manifestation in a cycle. And then we come to the end of the cycle and we see the Son of Man speaking and dealing through the seventh church age messenger, and the Son of Man manifestation comes on the scene. And that scene was about the same amount of time from 1933 at the river until 1965 when he passed away. There's about 30-year manifestation there, about 20 to 30 years in the one before. It was the Son of Man on the scene, happening and moving throughout the cycle. And then the opening of those seals, Son of God, church ages, Son of Man, prophet, back on the scene. Then Son of David is after the opening of the seals at Sunset Mountain, the Son of David came into manifestation for a period of time. And we entered in Sunset Mountain. We all went there, and we went there for one reason, and that was to crown the Son of Man and declare him to be the Son of David and bring him back into the earth in our form. And this is the Son of David manifesting himself for this period of time and setting up his kingdom in earth. And as Son of God, Son of Man, and Son of David, something changed at the end of this one because of the end of those cycles. Now we have entered a new cycle, and we are the fullness of the sonships, come to maturity. It's all three of those sonships, and we have taken the transformation into the Father. You say, I don't know about that. Well, let's read on here. The Son of Man is to reveal the masterpiece. The Son of Man is to reveal himself. The Son of Man is to reveal the secrets. The Son of Man is to reveal the hidden things. The Son of Man is to reveal the lost things. The Son of Man is to reveal the bride. The Son of Man is to reveal the wife. The wife has made herself ready. The Son of Man is doing all of that, revealing himself, because the Son of Man is the Word. So in Revelations 1 and 10, I want to read this first. The Son of Man is to reveal the masterpiece. He's to pull back the veil of total sonship. The Son of Man becomes the sculptor, and he has made a great sculpture of himself, and he pulls it back, and it's David. That's who actually Michelangelo made. I know Brother Branham said Moses, but he made a mistake. If you go look at it, it's David. And the son of David gets unveiled and put into the earth. So we see that this is going on. Now, it's the transformation of sonship for us to set up the kingdom of promise. There was a promise given to David in the Old Testament that travels right on through, and that is that he would have a son that would sit on the throne, and it would be an everlasting throne. So we see that that promise was made, and the scepter, if you go to Michael, the 5th chapter, Micaiah, you will find out that the scepter was in Ephraim. And Ephraim is the son of Joseph, and Joseph is the one promised to take the throne. He took the throne in Egypt, and Joseph is promised to take the throne down here in this day, and it's going on all around us, and we're missing it. So many are. We're not, but so many are missing the great thing that's happening in this day. John says, I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day. Where's the Lord's day? It's eternity. It's not any day. It's not the 1st through the 7 church ages. It's not the Old Testament. It is the eternal day. And John says, I was in the Spirit in the eternal day. And I heard a voice. I heard behind me a great voice. So picture this. Now, John he's in the Lord's day, and he hears a voice behind him. And he turns around to look behind him. And when he turns around to look behind him, he heard a voice of a great trumpet saying, I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last, and that thou seest, write in a book, and send it to the 7 churches which are in Asia, unto Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamos, Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, and Laodicea. So John begins to write. What was behind him? Not what was ahead of him. Everybody says, those are prophecies. John gave these great prophecies of what was going to happen. No, John went out to the end of the church age time and turned around and looked back, and he wrote down, it wasn't prophecies, it was exactly what was going to happen down through those ages, because he was on the back side of the book looking, just like you and me are. We are getting it right now because John was our representative, and we're on the back side of the book now, looking back across all of it, and we can, with precise eye, look at everything that happened and say, there it is. This happened here. This happened here. And we can point it out. So John was in the Spirit on the eternal day, and I turned to see the voice that spake with me, and being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks. And in the midst, that's what we're talking about, Son of Man in the midst. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, girded about the paps with a golden girdle, a judge set for the ages. That's the way they look. And he says, his head and hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. Where do you think John was looking? You think maybe John was looking right at Sunset Mountain and looking right through that great hair, white as wool, flames of fire, all the people of all the ages there together, crowning the Son of Man, saying, hallelujah, you did it. We're crowning you. Let's go back now and let's bring the Son of David into the earth. John was looking at all this, and his feet were like fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice is the sound of many waters. He had become the people. Waters is people. And he had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of the mouth went a sharp two-edged sword, and his countenance as the sun shines in its strength. So the fire struck the water and raised us into the air sign, or the meeting in the air. And we're having this great gathering, which John saw and wrote about right in the first chapter. Remember, we're looking at the first 3 chapters of Revelation. That's what I want to bring to you. Last week we talked about it. And applying it to us as individuals. Watch what the Son of Man does in you, in us. The theophany, that's the word, has to bring a balance in order to live in the earth. Now, Jesus is the Son of Man in the midst, and who is it that brings the balance to all things? The Son of Man brings a balance. He reveals the word. He reveals everything hidden, everything lost, everything. He brings it all back, and he brings a balance in the word. Now, the theophany, the word, has to bring a balance in order to live in the earth. It couldn't live here without coming to acceptance with this fleshly man, because the word, this fleshly man, wasn't set up totally on the word. He wasn't. It was an image, but not totally on the word. Now remember, this theophany has to bring a balance in order to live in earth. The word sees the iniquities. That's what the Son of Man is for. The word sees the iniquities, the shortcomings, the partial understandings, the disobedience. The word sees all of that. But it has to live here. It has to live here. The Son of Man, our theophany, has to point these things out to us and reveal them in our lives, or we would never be able to make the necessary adjustments and begin to accept ourselves or this existence here. We would always condemn it the whole life through, just the way they have done, because they have misunderstood the practice or the purpose of the Son of Man, which is to point out our iniquities, and it is to point out our rewards. It is to point out our goodness, and then we have the responsibility of dealing with those things. Now, we see this first in us and then in the world. This is the pattern that we see happening now. We came to an understanding within ourselves. We've done that. You and I, those of us here, those of you that listen, those of you that come to the website, we've come to an understanding within ourselves as heavenly and earthly. And after our understanding, we took the second step. We came to an understanding, and then the second step is the will. Remember what I read to you back there. The Son of Man, the second step is the will. The step is the will to do something about it, to bring ourselves to oneness, to clean out all the Trinity, to clean out all of the filthiness, to clean out all of these things that we are carrying in us, and we all carry it. We all are here, and we all have these failures and iniquities and everything about us, but we have come to an understanding that I am the Son of Man. And when I see those things, I am sinless, because I am going to take the responsibility to deal with it and do the things that need to be done. So it brings us to this oneness. Watch the pattern of understanding, and then the will. The iniquity is revealed. I have somewhat against you. Every age, going right down through. I have somewhat against you. I have somewhat against you. You have left your first love. That's the first thing he said to the first church age. You've left your first love. And then we have to cope with that issue and take on the responsibility and the action to get back to our first love. You say, well, that's easy. Well, we'll look at our nature, and we'll see how easy it was for just a moment. Revelations 1 and 4. Nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee, Ephesian church age, because thou hast left your first love. Remember therefore from whence thou art fallen, and repent, and do the first works, or else I will come unto thee quickly, and will remove the candlestick out of its place, except you repent. But this thou hast, that thou hatest the deeds of the Nicolaitans, which I also hate. So there was something good about him. And he says, here's your reward. The reward is to them that overcome. I will give you to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of God. I'll give you to eat of the Son of Man. I'll reveal more to you. I'll work with you more. I'll do those things. And so what happens? Watch the pattern. Here's your iniquity, number 1. That's verse 4. Here's what you do in order to keep the light from going out in you, verse 5. And the third thing, you have things about you that I love too, and I hate, just like you do. So he finds some good things about him. That's the Son of Man. He's bringing a balance. And here is your reward for making the adjustments and coming to acceptance with your earthly existence. The theophany cannot make you totally Word. We stepped outside the Word under the will of the Spirit in order to come to where we're at today. But you see that even though those iniquities are there, even though that doctrine there, or that spirit of the Nicolaitans there, he still has a love. He still says, I'm going to reward you. You can eat of the Son of Man. You can eat of this tree, and I will feed you more. There's where the balance comes in. Libra comes in. This is Christ, the Son of Man, Libra, bringing his balance and letting you know that it's okay. Just be responsible with where you're at. Now let's see how we come back to our first love. That's what his call was. Watch the pattern of the prodigal son in here, and I'll hurry, and the pattern of Lucifer, and the processes that we go through. Just watch it. You'll see that those first 3 chapters take us all the way out into communion, the wedding supper, and everything. Now, Smyrna, bitterness, myrrh. The synagogue of Satan begins in Smyrna. Many turn to intellectualism back there. What about you? When you first caught all this, you said, oh my God, look at this. Look at these things. I love this. This is the Son of Man. He's revealing so much. And then all of a sudden, you kind of turn to that intellect. The synagogue of Satan, or the processes and intellectualism of man. All these processes you get into, the beast and the image, and we got these rules and regulations and everything else. And we start putting these things outside you instead of dealing with the synagogue of Satan that lays within you. And you start saying, oh, I wouldn't be a Methodist, I wouldn't be a Baptist, I wouldn't be a Pentecostal, I wouldn't be this, I wouldn't be that. But you're never really dealing with what's inside you. There's a synagogue or a form or a process of Satan inside you. How are you going to deal with that? So we see this. Now, Smyrna has this, and this synagogue of Satan lays within you, and your foundation of bitterness. When you have a foundation of bitterness, when you hold that in you, you can't go anywhere but deeper. Let's watch this. Pergamos. Satan's processes and organization and denomination, your own creeds and dogmas, rules and regulations, take the throne, the heart. I'll read it to you. And Satan is sealed here instead of the living spirit. Satan, processes, images, beast, what I want to do, what I think everybody else should do, how I think they should live, how I should live. And you bear down on yourself until these processes do nothing but condemn you instead of being a balancer. So we see this now. Your own creeds and dogmas and rules and regulations take the throne, take your heart. Satan is sealed instead of the living spirit. And we find ourselves putting our trust into processes and materials and intellect instead of following this guy in here and taking the responsibility of of dealing with the Satan in you. Revelations 2 and 14, but I have a few things against thee. This is him talking to Pergamos. Because thou hast there them that hold the doctrine of Balaam. You know what that was? Materials, money, power, the doctrine of Balaam, who taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed unto idols, and to commit fornication. So hast thou also them that hold the doctrine of the Nicolaitans. So you see that once you begin to have a spirit, you know what Nico is? It's the conquering of the laity. You don't allow the people the freedom to serve and enjoy the spirit within them. You dictate to something outside of you instead of dictating to your own self and taking care of your own nation. You try to run everybody else's nation. Nicolaitan spirit. And then it turns to a doctrine. So we have, and he says, repent. So we have all of these things happening. Repent, else I come to thee quickly, and I will fight against you. He that hath an ear, listen to the reward. For those of you that overcome, if you can balance this out, move those spirits of Balaam and doctrines and Nicolaitans and trying to judge other people and everything else, move all of that out of you and come to where you overcome what's in you and you eat of the hidden manna. That's the reward. He'll give you a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth, saving he that receiveth it. The iniquity, the understanding, the will, the power, and the reward. The iniquity is revealed. Son of Man does it. The word reveals it. And then the understanding is revealed. And then the will. Do you have the will to take on the responsibility to act as Son of Man in the earth? And then the power and the reward comes. Your action and the reward comes. This is us as individuals. And the ages back there are just symbolic. That's all they are now. They are symbolic of what's really going on inside you in the fullness of time. And patterns and shadows, and we are the real persons. It's not a pattern and a shadow anymore. We're the real persons. Humanity making the changes, the adjustments to establish heaven and earth, bring them together, make the twain one flesh, kiss one another, so to speak, kiss the Son of Man, lest he be angry. That's what the scripture says. So we come to Thyatira. Now, Thyatira is a dominating woman. We know that. When the earthly attribute, this is what happens. When the theophany is trying in you to bring you to a balance, and as it's trying to work with you, and you being the earthly and the heavenly, and it's trying to work with you to bring it, the twain, to one flesh, and as it works with you, when the earthly attribute begins to see that these processes and things to overcome, that the spirit is learning to live in this world also, your spirit and your earthly actions are trying to learn to live together and come to life as one and enjoy the life here and gain the experiences. What happens? The woman, the earthly nature, begins to step over the adjustments, begins to pay little attention to the voice, begins to say it doesn't matter. They go into Calvinism. They go into all sorts of things. Do anything you want. The woman, the earthly nature, begins to step over the adjustments that the spirit is seeking. The spirit is seeking for you to be modest. I see some people and they go out here and they're in our message. But what has happened, they are in this Thyatiran way of thinking, and they're stepping right over top of what the Spirit is trying to tell them. To be modest, to be fair, to present yourself as a living sacrifice, to do all these things. And so they go out here and all of a sudden, you just say, well, what in the world happened to that person? How did they get in that condition? Well, they got in that condition because in their earthly nature, they didn't want to listen to that spirit, to that person, that son of man who's trying to balance both the woman and the man, the spirit and the earth, trying to take the spirit and the earth and bring it together and make it one. This is a great battle within the mind, the Thyatiran battlefield. Whether or not we are going to pay attention to the Son of Man in us that's calling us to do and walk and act in a manner of godliness and all these sorts of things. And are we going to pay attention to it? Or is it going to be a battlefield? You can take him off the battlefield. You don't have to have a battlefield. You can have the spirit, the earthly body, the carnality, and you can have it resting and adjusting to the word, and instead of wrestling with one another in your house. I ain't talking about wrestling with nations, wrestling with some preacher out here in the message, wrestling with yourself. You don't have to do it. Don't let that woman, that earthly nature, become a dominating thing and not hear what's being spoke to you by the Spirit to move into the day and the age that you're in. Revelations 2:21, notwithstanding I have somewhat against you, Thyatira, that woman Jezebel, there's that spirit, which calls herself a prophetess. You've got that among you. And you have all of these things moving among you. But I say unto you, under the rest in Thyatira, those of you that have overcome that dominating woman nature. I don't care if you're a woman or a man. It's in you. And you have to pay close attention, or at Thyatira, you'll begin to not hear the voice very quickly. And here he is now. He says, to the rest of you in Thyatira that can hear my voice, as many as have not this doctrine, you're not acting like Balaam, going after materials and everything else and power, and you're not doing these things. But unto you I say, which have not known the depths of Satan. Thyatira, Pergamos and Thyatira take you into the depths of Satan. You learn what the bottomless pit is all about while you're going through your changes, while the Son of Man is revealing things to you, and while you're coming to your responsibility and your understanding and your will to put these things into action. You learn the depths of Satan, and you learn the bottomless pit and what all comes out of it, because it's in you. And you learn these things. And he says, those of you that have not known the depths of Satan as they speak. So Satan is a process of people that are speaking things that you listen to, and then you take it inward and you begin to let outside influences influence you instead of going inward and listening to your king, your benevolent dictator, that little fascist guy in there that wants to love everything around him and be benevolent and give peace and joy. That little communistic guy that just wants to commune with his next door neighbor, that wants to commune with one another. But what do? For those of you that have not paid any attention to the way they speak, I will put no other burden upon you, but that which ye have already, and hold fast. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works to the end, him will I give power over the nations. How many of you know what I said a nation is? It's you. He gives you power over your body. To him that overcometh, to the man and the woman, to those people that can make the adjustments and overcome the depths of Satan and the dominating woman that lays in you, not out there, that lays in you. You can overcome that and remove Satan from the throne, remove him from the seat, and overcome that dominating woman. Then you can have power over your nation, over your body, over everything that you are. When you understand who you are, it's coming from in you.
The love of the Spirit continues to adjust and show acceptance. The earthly dimensions, while the earthly humanity is going through the Son of Man, revealing the iniquities and adjusting to earthly life. The theophany is adjusting, and the earthly man is adjusting until this adjustment, you know what? Adjustment brings you into one. It's like focusing a set of binoculars. You see two or three things out there, and you keep focusing and pulling it in and pulling it in until it becomes one. And both the theophany, the carnality, turns into a spiritual mind when you can do that and make them one and accept and make the adjustments and live in peace in the earth. Sardis, the escaped ones, you have a name that you are dead. So they came through. The 5th, 6th, and 7th church ages are the ascent. You died. Now we're turning around. We're coming through justification, sanctification, baptism, Holy Spirit. All of these things, we're moving back. When we come to that point to where we can dethrone Satan, to where we can dethrone him from his seat, where we can overtake the dominating woman and be like Jehu and say, whoever's up there on the Lord's side, cast her down. You can say, whoever's up here in my mind, in my heart, that's on the Lord's side, help me cast this woman down. And so we see this, and they are the escaped ones, completely overtaken with the domination of intellect. But the 5th, 6th, and 7th church ages begin their ascent out of the depths of Satan, the seed of Satan, and begin to walk a little bit closer with the Spirit and begin to lay all those things aside. Philadelphia, the brotherly love. So you come out of the seat of Satan and out of the depths of Satan and out of the dominating woman, and you come to a point to where you can feel love again. Love began to guide the stars, the messengers, and the return to our first love is beginning to take root. We fell into the ground, we died in the processes, and now begins to bring forth much fruit. It died and it comes back up in a resurrection. And you may not look like much. That's okay. Just keep adjusting. Don't worry about what you can't do. Enjoy what you can do and watch it continue to grow. So we see this now. It died, begins to grow forth. A door is open in heaven under the Philadelphian age. The keys to the kingdom are made available in the Philadelphian age. And you are that age. You are that person. You're opening up to the Spirit and beginning to lay aside that all of those things that took you through the process of Satan. So we see this. The doors open. The keys to the kingdom are made available. And the prophecy of communion was beginning to manifest. And we see it. He said, I know your works. Behold, I will make them that were the synagogue of Satan, all them that have all those processes, I will make them realize that you are the real thing. And all those processes that were in here, I'm laying them aside, and I am stepping into the great door that is open. Because thou hast kept your word and my patience, I will give you some things. And he gave us a new name. Now, it is not just a name that he gave him back there and said, I'll give you a white stone and a name. But this, he gives you, it's not the one that no one knows. He, this time, now it is written upon him, upon you. You're walking around and it is written on you, the name of my God, the name of the city of my God, and I will write upon you my new name. This is the promise of marriage. You're coming to a marriage now. You're coming to where you are stepping up. You are the modest lady you're supposed to be. You are living in a time where that you've given up everything and totally surrendered, and you're moving, and the Spirit and the earth are beginning to look like one another and moving together and putting aside so many things. And this is the promise of marriage, taking the name and openly declaring the change of heart in us as an earthly people. Laodicea, people's rights. This age has a very unique relationship. All you have to do is go read it. It is either totally blind or it comes to the light of fellowship and communion. It comes to the understanding of the will and the power, and it begins to flow out of you benevolently, and you love it with all your heart, or you're totally blind. While it is a terrible day in the processes, it is terrible. Look at them. Their processes are falling apart. And while it is a terrible day in their processes and systems of the beast and its image, Lucifer, look at the process. Lucifer, Satan, the serpent, the devil, the red dragon, the whore, the prostitute, all of these things. That is the trip that you took. The prostitute's just a dominating woman. That's the trip you took. And it is a great day of reunion now that you've come around. You are the prodigal son. You come back into the fellowship with your father. He put a ring on your finger. He married you. He made a great feast, wedding supper, and you are eating on that feast and enjoying that day while the rest of the world is still in their process. You are enjoying all of these things, the transition period into a new dispensation, into a new world, and into a new day. Because thou sayest, I am rich and increased with goods, and I have need of nothing. You're poor, you're blind, and you're naked. And he says, take the eye salve and put it on your eyes. That's what we did. We took the word of the Son of Man, we put it on our eyes, and we begin to look at who we are. We understand who we are. And we see this great day. As many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous, therefore, and repent. We're down at the end. We're down to where John sees us in a marriage, the Philadelphian age. He sees the marriage coming on. He sees us come back. He sees us repent. And he says, behold, I stand at the door that's open, and I knock. If any man hear my voice and opens the door, I will come into him, and I will sup with him, and he with me. Look at that promise. It's the end of the ages. It's the breaking into the new day. It's the stepping over into the new world. It's the wedding supper food, and it transforms us into a brand new day, which is the fullness of time. To him that overcometh will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame and am set down with my Father in his throne. You say, Brother Parnell, that's what we're waiting on. We want that to happen more than anything. And we're waiting on it. And we need that. We need for Christ to come, take the throne, and set us in the throne, and put us in the great millennium. The Son of David, we're waiting on that. No, we are not. Look at what this prophet told you. In 1963, March the 18th, first seal, clear as a bell, unless you just don't want to believe it. Paragraph 152. The voice is a thunder. The voice came from where? From the throne where the Lamb had just left. First seal. As an intercessor. So the Lamb leaves the intercessory when the first seal is open, and it was open on March the 18th, 1963, and you're still looking at him as an intercessor? There's a problem there. You've missed something. Now listen, now he is standing here to take his position and his claims. You are his claims. Now, but the thunder came from inside the throne. The thunder came from the inside out. Everybody's looking up here for thunders to come down when it's coming from the inside out. It's in you. And he said, now, and the Lamb was standing out there, the thunder where the Lamb had left the Father's throne to go take his own throne. Glory. Here's your prophet. Listen to him real close now. Now, don't miss it, friends. Don't miss it. He's declaring Jesus has left the intercessory. He's left that throne, and he's going to take another throne, and that's the throne of the Son of David. Watch him. He says the thunder here. Don't miss it now, friends. Paragraph 153. We all know as Christians that God swore to David that he would raise up Christ to sit on his throne and give him an everlasting kingdom here on earth. He did it. Oh, I'm waiting. No, Brother Barnes, he didn't do it. He did it. Have you got a prophet or not? Have you got somebody that's seen enough to know the intercessory's over? He's taken his father's throne. He's sitting on the throne of David that was promised, and the son of David is back in the earth, and he's in the fullness of time, and he's setting up a kingdom on this earth. Can you believe it? Or do you just want to throw what he said away? Tear that page out of the seven seals. Throw it away. No, you can't do it. Not and make it run the way he wants it to run. God swore to David that he would rise up Christ to sit on his throne and give him an everlasting kingdom here on earth. He did it. I believe it. He did it. Now let's watch what he says here. Jesus said, he that overcomes the Antichrist and all the things of the world shall sit with me in my throne, as I have overcome and have sat down on my Father's throne. See? So we take the Son of David throne. This is our throne. This is our man. We are the Son of Man, the Son of God, and the Son of David in total maturity now. We see at the end of the 3rd chapter of Revelation that the beast, its image, the processes of carnality are overcome, and the door to the supper is wide open, and we are eating on the wedding supper. We stand and sup with the Spirit on a daily basis now as we visit, as we sit in the throne. Kings of our nations. Brother Allen, you're the king of your nation. Brother Allen Stuckless, you're a king of your nation. Sweetie Jacob, you're a king of your nation. All those that sit out there, all those who will ever listen to this, you are the son of David, the Son of Man, and the Son of God, taking the throne now, and we are moving this thing into the earth, one person at a time. It's happening. We stand up with the Spirit on a daily basis now, the King of our nations, and Satan is removed from our seat, removed from our throne, and his depths are no longer ruling over us. There is the Son of Man in the midst of the people, bringing them through the processes of Lucifer, the serpent, the devil, the red dragon, the prostitute, and right back around to Lucifer again with a new name. What is the new name? All of your experiences, everything that you have learned in this great day. No longer fallen angels, but given a new name, a white stone, a new city, a new heaven, and a new earth. We came back to the Father's house, are fellowshipping as the prodigal son, married, in love, and living in the brand new earth. Why are all these things left behind, Brother Parnell? That's all it is. They're just left behind. They will fade away. How long? I don't know how long. I'm not even worried about how long. I just know who I am, and I'm going to continue to express who I am. And these 7 church ages are not 7 ages in the past. They are 7 things that you go through to develop your Son of God, Son of Man, and Son of David relationship, and you move into the Father's throne. That's the way you do it, through these great things. It's a great understanding. We'll look at the next chapters 4 through 7. We'll take a good look at them, and we'll see the exact same thing happen again, only in another form. Wake up to who you are. Revelation is so simple. The revelation in your personal life is so simple. It's just you making the transformation. A great fellowship. Lord Jesus, we come to you, thanking you for opening up these things to John the Revelator. And it's been 2,000 years that man has been so confused over these things. And you have now given us the understanding and the will and the power to put these things into action. You have given us Son of God, Son of Man, and Son of David. And you have taken all 3 of these and you put us into the fullness of time now to act in all of these. And we thank you for it. We love you for it. And now it's our turn. Stand there over the balcony. Take a good look at us. Enjoy it with everything that's within you. But it's our turn. It's our turn now. I am the Spirit. I am the Lord. I am all of these things. And when we understand that, every one of us, not just Don Parnell, but when we understand that, we are the very Spirit moving through the earth. That's who we are. Do we have this understanding? Can we live modestly? Can we live in a way that is presented as Jesus Christ, just in a new day, a new dispensation, a new age, with new understanding, with the will and the power to put it in action? Love bless you. I hope this has helped, and we will continue to look at how the individual, you, need to take your responsibility and change and recast yourself into the earth, just like Jesus did in St. John 12. He recast the prince of this world, came back on the day of Pentecost as a different way and a different form. Love bless.